Hello everyone, The Nerdy Steve here, and today I will be featuring a Mono Blue Tempo deck in Standard. The list is in the description below. I'm going to talk a little bit about the plan of the deck, and then we'll play a couple of games. So, let's go. This is a relatively simple deck in what we want to do, but in practice, it is much harder to navigate the games. And that is because early on, maybe on turn 1 or 2, we want to play Delver of Secrets, but we also have tons of counter spells. We have Spell Pierce, Negate, Make Disappear, and Essence Scatter. And ideally, we want to counter basically everything our opponent does, but because this is like a tempo deck, we also want to be very aware of letting threats or things that don't matter resolve and keeping our counter magic for things that are much more important. And that can be a little hard to figure out what to do, and it takes practice and varies from matchups to matchups. And that's where the hard part of the deck is, what to counterspell and what not to counterspell, right? But so that's what we're doing for the first couple turns of the game. And then later on, we're going to have a Haughty Djinn or a Tolarian Terror. And both of these cards, once they hit the battlefield, apply an immense amount of pressure onto our opponent's life total. And ideally, we will have counter magic to back these up, or cards like Slip Out the Back to protect them from your opponent's removal. And so what we want to do is counter our opponent's threats early on, first couple of turns. We want to play then our own threats and protect them and then kill our opponent when we still counterspell everything else they're doing. Now, that is in theory what we want to do. Let's go see how the deck plays out. Also, if you haven't already, you should totally like, comment, and subscribe. That's a great way to help support me and this channel. If you have any deck suggestions, please let me know. I am always looking for more things to play. And I have a Twitch if you want to watch me play live Magic. And I have a Metafy if you're interested in coaching. Those links are down below. Now, thank you for watching, and let's play some games. Alright. So, we have a it's like not the best hand, but we do have Consider, which I'm a little happy with. Like that's gonna make our hand much better. Or like we're not gonna mulligan if we have a Consider and a bunch of our really powerful creatures. I guess no, we do want the Essence Scatter, right? Because we get the Essence Scatter whatever our opponent plays, which will get a plus. Oh, unless our opponent does that. Okay. Well, never mind then. Haughty Djinn, here we go. We really wanted to counter that Reckless Stormseeker, sadly. Thirst for Discoveries only 2. So we can discard what? Slip Out the Back and a Essence Scatter. Interesting. So now we can counter if our opponent plays something really scary. And then slip out the back on a Haughty Djinn if we need to. I think we can just take the 4, though. I'm not too worried here. The problem is we also, like, there's a possibility we want to block and slip out the back the Haughty Djinn, but then our Essence Scatter goes up to 2 mana and we can't counter something. And I want to be able to counter maybe a Thundering Raiju. Interesting. Given Devastator. Let's counter that. Hmm. Riveteer's Requisitioner. We can slip out the back it. And now our opponent doesn't necessarily have a good attack here. And I think it might be time for... We're going to attack with everything. And then we get to Haughty Djinn, Tolarian Terror the following turn. And this is very good for us. Because also now with the slip out the back in our hand, both our Haughty Djinns will be lethal with 7 times 2. I'm going to get rid of it now here. And hope our opponent can't kill a Haughty Djinn, right? Please? We're waiting for our opponent. I'm trying to think what they could possibly be considering besides their imminent defeat. I do think this is an interesting matchup. I think we might be favored just because we have like a lot of our counters kind of match up fairly well against them early on. And then once we land a Tolarian Terror, because we're not, our life total theoretically shouldn't be that low, we're not under a lot of pressure, and we can really block a lot of the stuff they're doing, right? So I think I like this matchup from our perspective, but I could be wrong. But who knows? I don't. I'm not good at this game. And while we wait, if you haven't already, press that like button. You should totally subscribe and or comment down below with your favorite color of Magic. Our opponent has used the timeout here. Which is fine. Maybe just literally contemplating everything and then decided I couldn't win. So GG. Keep. So I think this is a decent hand. We do have the Delver's Secrets. Let's hope it flips early on. A Jetmir's Garden. Alright, no, this is literally GG. Literally GG. This is the type of start of the game that is perfect for our deck. We get to counter that. We have now Essence Scatter and... Yeah. GG. Okay. We will keep... Now, this hand doesn't have a Delver of Secrets, but it does have a Haughty Djinn. So that's kind of... We want to do as much, get as much instants in our graveyard as we can early on. Or maybe I'm a liar. I guess, you know, that was silly of me. The Haughty Djinn being in our hand doesn't really change up how we're gonna play. Right? We're still gonna try and counter what our opponent does. And that's all good. Now we can Haughty Djinn here. Yeah, and I think I do. Because what for 3 mana are we scared of? Exactly, right? Wedding announcement? Okay, that's fine. Let's thirst for discovery. We'll discard double, one island. So, this is kind of a really, really good spot for us to be in, right? Because we have counter magic, we have ways to protect Haughty Djinn. Like, we have a lot of different ways we can play our cards and a lot of things to play around. And we do want to be a little proactive with our counter magic, right? Just because every card we counter, we increase our Haughty Djinn clock very significantly. Gala Greeters. We're gonna Essence Scatter that. Alright, and that's fine, because what we're gonna do is slip out the back the Haughty Djinn during our opponent's end step. And then we're going to counter, we're gonna slip out the back the Llanowar Loam Speaker here. And then we're gonna Spell Pierce it. So we get our lethal. GG. Okay, we will keep here. Again, we have Haughty Djinn and Thirst for Discovery is kind of just the ideal type of combo we want in this deck. Or, not combo, but collection of cards, right? Because Haughty Djinn makes the Thirst for Discovery 2 mana, which is very relevant. And can just allow us to find more things, right? It's just really, really good. I guess we might as well Thirst for Discovery here if our opponent has a counter spell. I think that's fine, because then we get to resolve our Haughty Djinn. And I think we just have to go for it. Because this really forces our opponent to be really, really proactive here. And if they're not, until end of turn, target artifact creature becomes a 4/4. That's fine, right? Okay. It looks like our opponent really needed a land. And right now we're just kind of living the mono blue tempo dream. We have a big threat on the battlefield. We have all the counter magic in the world. We have card draw. It's just, we're having a really good time. Depopulate. Let's Spell Pierce that. We're gonna Thirst for Discovery. Attack for 7. And then we're gonna Tolarian Terror. We have a slip out the back again for the Haughty Djinn if that's a problem. And this will be lethal. GG. Alright. We have the double Haughty Djinn hand. So we're hoping that this works out for us. Knight of Dusk's Shadow. Okay. We really need another land. We need another land, everyone. Graveyard Trespasser is something we will counter. We're going to take damage from here. Now, this is interesting. If we want the Haughty Djinn here or not. And I don't think we do. Because I think we need to hold... We want to be able to protect it the turn we cast it somehow. Oh, this is great. Our opponent... Oh, lovely. Lovely. GG. Alright. Alright, hear me out. We don't really have anything going on here, right? We don't have counter magic. We don't have any of our threats. However, I think the Considers can find us can dig us into Tolarian Terror or Haughty Djinn territory fairly quickly. And we also have the thirst for discovery. So why not try it? If we're, mulliganing to 6, what hand are we gonna get that's, like, going to be just as good? Where this, with one Consider, we can, basically get the 6-card hand. That's not real good logic, but I'm defending myself. Though I think, I don't necessarily hate this keep. By the way, let's hope it plays out. Alright, let's just go for the Consider now. We don't need that thirst for discovery, though. Alright, the Delver... a little late, but better. I guess it's like a decent thing to do. Phoenix Chick. Okay. What I think I might want to do here is block and then slip out the back our Delver. Because we want to, like, use our mana while we can. And this prevents a little bit of damage if our opponent kills it in response. That's so fine. Okay. This is not fine, though. Now, we are taking a lot of damage here, though. A lot. Specifically if our opponent has a Thundering Raiju, we are not in a good spot. And also, the mono red deck is a pretty good matchup against us because I don't know, but how sometimes the cards line up, like all of our spell pierces become much, much worse when you're countering spells that cost 1 mana, right? Ooh. So we are taking a lot of damage here, but that's fine. Lightning strike? No way. We are at 5, everyone. I don't think we can do anything yet. Thundering Raiju, we get to... Huh. I think we can let it attack, and then maybe we can eat it. We can eat it with this Haughty Djinn, and bounce whatever it targets. Alright, no, this is great, because this also gets rid of it automatically. Because if our opponent targeted any of these and we had to bounce it, that would be very, very bad for us. And this is 8 plus 7, 15. I wonder if there is a world where we could win this turn. Well, not this world. I think we attack here. We're gonna go down to 1. We die to any burn spell anyway. And a haste creature we can essence scatter, so that we want to attack. GG. Sometimes you just lose. Well, everyone, thank you for watching me play some Mono Blue Tempo in Standard. This deck is obviously very, very great, specifically in Best of 1. You know, just not only will you get some very quick concessions because you're a blue deck with counter magic, right? And that's really, really frustrating to people, but it does have a lot of power early on. However, there were some games where it's very easy for this deck to just draw things in the wrong order, and it doesn't really do anything with your excess lands. Drawing 3 lands in a row can just be really, really devastating, and I think that affects this deck a lot more than others. And so that is something to look out for. I do think you need to be very, very proactive with your mulligans and really learning to navigate the game in a very specific way. And so that can be rewarding in its own right, but it's also can be a little difficult and frustrating at times. Because I like this deck a lot and it's fun, but there are some times where I'm just like, oh, I don't have I don't have any agency in what I'm doing because I'm just I it's either I'm drawing a counter spell, so I counter my opponent's next thing, or a land and I can't do anything. The first couple turns are always very, very, very interesting, though, and that's what I like about it. But you become really, really susceptible to the top deck in a lot of games. And that's fine, that's magic, but that is something that might, throw some people off with this deck. With all that being said, if you haven't already, you totally like, comment, subscribe. Great way to help support me and the channel. I also stream at twitch.tv/thenerdysteve, so you can watch me live. I do coaching at Metafy, and all those links are in the description below. I hope you learned something, I hope this video was fun, and thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Bye.